From oceans to deserts, California can and will be affected by climate change. My name is Kai Wilkes, and my partner Diego Hernandez have teamed up to discover the short and long-term effects of climate change. When starting this project, Diego and I had to create a definition of the word climate change, not only for ourselves to help with research, but also for our audience to better understand the facts that we're putting forth. Our definition states, a change in global or regional climate patterns, in particular, a change apparent from the mid to late 20th century onwards and attributed largely to the increased levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide produced by the use of fossil fuels and other greenhouse gases. Some other greenhouse gases include nitrous oxide and methane. With our definition in place, we set out to find more information and find our first interview. What better place to start than our state climatologist, Michael Anderson? But unfortunately, because of conflicting schedules, we had to do our interview over email. With that being said, my partner will be narrating the interview. What do you think specifically is the biggest contributor to climate change in California?
The driver of climate change in California is the same as what drives it globally: man-made greenhouse gas emissions. Whether the gases are released in California or in other parts of the world, they contribute to the entire atmosphere's total amount, and increased temperatures. The prime greenhouse gas is carbon dioxide, and in California, the main source of carbon dioxide is from transportation, such as driving vehicles. Emissions act as a blanket, trapping heat and warming the surface of the planet on average.
What direction is California headed in terms of their involvement in climate change?
Impacts from climate change to the state include those things created by warming temperatures, such as increased wildfire risk, less reliable snowpack for water supply, heat waves that harm people's healths, and sea level rise, which is caused by warmer poles. California is working hard in both areas that will be necessary in light of climate change: mitigation and adaptation. Mitigation is the reduction of emissions that cause greenhouse gases, and adaptation involves taking actions to prepare for the impacts anticipated. The state has some of the most forward-thinking legislation in the country on both of these approaches. For more, I suggest looking at the scoping plan, the strategy, for achieving California's 2030 greenhouse gas target.
Taking a closer look at the previous answer, Anderson mentions how there can be harm to your body through heat waves. At first, you might be thinking of just sunburns and whatnot, which can be prevented, but just by doing a little research, we can see multiple cases of very severe damage and even death because of heat waves. In an article published by Scientific America, it states, heat exhaustion is a relatively common reaction to severe heat and can include symptoms such as dizziness, headaches, and fainting. It also later goes to say, when sustained heat waves hit a region, the health ramifications can be serious, including sunstroke and even major organ damage due to heat. Huge sustained heat, as mentioned in the previous quote, causes travesties such as the Chicago heat wave in the summer of 1995, which killed an estimated 692 people and sent at least 3,300 people to the emergency room. So just by taking a glance at the repercussions of climate change, and more specifically heat waves and the effect they have on the human body, we can clearly see a huge concern. With that being said, let's dive back into the interview. What is California doing correct?
California is proactive when it comes to climate change. The state is a leader in actions for both mitigation and adaptation in terms of legislation promoting awareness, providing best science and data to planners and the public, and working to develop water policies that will ensure a reliable water supply for future generations.
What can California do to improve?
See the plans listed in the question above. Those are the comprehensive reports on mitigation and adaptation. Additional action should be taken by individuals to cut down on their emissions too.
With our first interview out of the way, we set out for our second. We turned to local climatologist Mike Martinez. In this interview, we got a little bit more insight to what the effects on ocean life can be, and also a little bit more in depth with what Michael Anderson was stated in the last interview. Unfortunately, yet again, because of conflicting schedules, we had to do this interview over text. What is global warming?
Global warming is a change to the Earth's climate. The more scientific way of saying it would be a gradual increase in the overall temperature of Earth's atmosphere from the greenhouse effect caused by methane gas, carbon dioxide, and other pollutants.
How is climate change affecting the youth?
Climate change harms the youth in several ways, such as destroying the world they will grow up in, affecting the air that we breathe, the oceans we swim in, and many animals' habitats. Unfortunately, there are lots of animals that are being harmed by global warming, and they are being led to the brink of extinction. And when the future generations age, there's a chance these animals will be gone for good.
How do we prevent climate change from progressing so rapidly?
There are several ways we can slow the process of global warming. We can start by making transportation systems more clean, cut down gas emissions, and start moving forward with the progression of electrically run vehicles and machines. One big producer of methane gas in the atmosphere is cows that are just sitting in factories waiting to be slaughtered, and they're actually ruining the atmosphere.
Is the damage irreversible?
In about 12 years, the damage done could be too severe that it is irreversible. But in the meantime, we must start making changes in our lifestyle to prevent all of the unnecessary damage we are dealing to Earth and to save our animals and children.
With the completion of both of our interviews, my partner and I have come to the conclusion that climate change probably isn't the greatest thing in the world. Hopefully you feel the same way because of the facts and information provided. We are also hoping that you take some of the information regarding where our next step should be and use that information to take a stand and help contribute to try to lower the severity of climate change. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed our video.